to be welcoming First Minister Eluned Morgan to join us here on your G&T Breakfast Show. Borada Croeso, and how are you feeling this morning?
Yeah, good. A lot of work to do always as your First Minister, so I like to get started. I've done my yoga stretches already this morning, so ready for the off.
Yeah, well done you. Yoga hurts, I find.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
I started getting into it during lockdown, and I just like to stretch it out a little bit in the morning.
One of those habits that have stayed with us. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the first in what we hope is going to be a regular check-in with the First Minister for Wales right here on your breakfast show on Folly Farm.
Yeah, well, look, I represent, Mid and West Wales at the moment, and, I'm a Pembrokeshire girl, so I just think it's right that I give special attention to my special county.
Well, thank you so much. And of course, people forget that with you being First Minister, that you've actually got a duty to Mid and West Wales in any event. But of course, that's all going to be changing soon, isn't it?
It is. I currently represent Mid and West Wales, but I'm hoping to stand in the next election to represent. It's a whole new setup next time. It would be Preseli, Pembrokeshire and Ceredigion. So I'll be much more focused on a much smaller area, which is great, actually, in the sense that it was really difficult to try and cover 3/4 of the land mass of Wales. And obviously I come home every weekend. So that is just much easier for me, I hope, to be able to represent that area.
Yeah, and what we're hoping for with these touch points here on the breakfast show is that we get to find a little bit about you and a little bit of insight as to what you've been doing in Cardiff in the Senedd and what you've been doing more locally here at home.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I've had a really busy summer. Obviously, I've been based in Pembrokeshire the whole time. It's been brilliant. I have been everywhere. Starting off with things like the Eluned Carnival. I went to the last invasion of Fishguard reenactment. That was great fun. Although the sound of the massive cannon going off is still with me. Fishguard show, the Cardigan show, and obviously the county show, all kinds of things. I went to the Hubberston Fun Day, and also obviously been congratulating some students in the county on their A-level results and GCSE results. So I've been all over the place over the course of the summer, and it's been lovely, actually, and it's been one of the best summers ever. It's been great weather, isn't it?
It has. It's been so dry and not too hot, not too cold. And your list is pretty much as long as ours here at Pure West Radio. And we bumped into you at the vast majority of those too, which I'm very, very proud of. We had you on the stage at the county show, and you even flexed a bit of your dance moves. You could not contain yourself when Red Wine came on afterwards.
I know. I do like a bit of a bop. In fact, I was caught on camera this week doing a little TikTok number with somebody on a visit. So look, at the end of the day, I'm human as well, and my brothers were all DJs, so I was brought up with music bouncing all around the house all the time.
I love that. I was actually very jealous, actually, that you've managed to get on TikTok dancing, because it's been something which I'm supposed to be doing about 3 years ago. I said, I'm going to get on that TikTok, and I haven't done it yet.
I can't say I was any good, but,
Was it enjoyable?
Look, it was this woman who persuaded me to do it, who, that's what she does, is to just bring joy to people's lives. And I just thought, well, she's asked me, why don't I give it a go?
I was really impressed. It was proper choreography. It wasn't just like sidestepping. There were proper hops and arms, and I think you did a good job there. One other thing that you've been out and about over the summer, which feels so far away, but it'll be here before we know it. You've actually started canvassing for the next Senedd elections.
Yeah, and look, we've got a really big challenge on our hands. We had a very difficult opinion poll that came out last night, and I'm very keen to make sure that people recognise what we've delivered already, and making sure they realise, when I was health minister, there were people in Pembrokeshire waiting for 6 years or so for for treatment, hip replacements and things on the NHS. Now we've brought that down massively to under 2 years now. So there's, massive progress. There's always more to do, but we're absolutely heading in the right direction, and that's partly because we've had more money from the UK Labour government to spend on that kind of thing. But the key thing is we're doing the things that people want us to do. We're filling potholes. People get really upset about potholes. So we're spending a lot of money on making sure that people can get around better, that we're building houses. And there's a particular issue in Pembrokeshire at the moment where there's an environmental thing versus houses, and we've got to try and get that sorted out. So those kind of things. There's the kind of practical get things done. That's where I'm at. I'm a very, very impatient person.
For those that may not have seen that opinion poll, YouGov and I think it was ITV News put together a poll that said that Plaid Cymru are the front runners, with Reform UK very closely in second at this early stage in this canvassing process, and then Labour down with a prediction of 11 seats. What's your view as the person that's heading up Welsh Government now of seeing the likes of Reform getting such a large opinion poll at this stage without necessarily tried and tested politicians in places of decision making?
Yeah, look, I think it's really worrying for the country, and we've seen this before in the Welsh Parliament, in the previous form of Nigel Farage's party when they were UKIP, and they elected 7 people, and by the end of that term, 6 of them had left. 6 of them had left the party. They just kind of fall apart as soon as the rubber hits the road, and also you just think about their lack of policies. The one policy everybody knows about is they want to do more on immigration. But let's remember that that's got nothing to do with the Senedd. We just don't have any powers over immigration at all. And when you live in somewhere like Pembrokeshire, the levels of immigration are quite low. But I tell you where the people who are immigrants are. They're in our hospitals, and they're our care workers. Almost 50% of our dentists and doctors in Hywel Dda were trained abroad. So, we need these people to help us out, to make sure that our public services run properly. So, look, I think it's really important people hear those views and recognise, look, I'm just not somebody who thinks dividing our communities is a good idea. I think we've got to come together. I think we achieve a lot more by coming together, pooling our resources. That's why we believe in the NHS. Nigel Farage said he wants to see an insurance approach. That you think about, if you've got an illness or you're getting old, how much that would cost to insure yourself. This is so. I'm not sure if people have really thought through the implications of what would happen. But look, it is, we're a few months away. We've got time to, I hope, turn things around and tell people of the consequences of what could be, I think, potentially a disaster for Wales.
Yeah, and of course, mention that canvassing. It is on the policies, not the people. You'll be voting for a party and their policies, not for individuals, which is quite a fundamental change to our voting system here. Also, and mention those decision makers. Senedd, you're back after that summer recess. You've had a lovely couple of weeks here in Pembrokeshire, and now it's back to the business of cutting down those waiting lists. And there's always more to do. What does the next 7 days look like for the First Minister?
Well, it has already been a really busy week. So, in the run up last week, you can't just land in there. So I did lots of, there's always loads of meetings, discussing, look, what's the budget look like? There's still lots of work to do on things like the COVID inquiry. These inquiries, they go on for years and take a lot of time up. But also, and that's important for people who suffered, to get answers, to know, look, we're learning lessons and we won't go through that again. I've been to visit amazing projects like a recycling facility, loads and loads of jobs there, where one of the things they were doing was taking old meters, smart meters and things, electric and gas ones, and recycling them all, and this is providing loads and loads of jobs. So we love that kind of recycling approach in Wales, especially when they create jobs. And then something, I guess, more of interest in South Wales is that we we had this new law that came in, which was to help clear coal tips in South Wales. There's over 2,500 coal tips left over. And because of climate change, the tips are getting more unstable. And obviously the people living beneath them, that's really scary for them. So we've got this whole thing in place. And now we've got a whole load of extra money from the UK government that we put in loads already. So £220 million to help try and clear that and give confidence to the people. And, back to normal then this week, although it's been a really tough week, actually, because you might have heard over the summer, one of our colleagues died. And it's a really small place, the Senedd. There's only 60 people in there. So we all know each other very well. So when that happens, it really, really affects us all. So yesterday was a particularly tough day because we were paying tribute to him in the Senedd. And of course, that's now caused a by-election. And we're going to spend a lot of time now just trying to win that by-election. And, there's a lot at stake there because, we've got 30, we had 30 votes and now we're down to 29. And, there are implications if you don't have the numbers.
Very much so. As Heaven Davis, if I'm not mistaken, he is actually a sponsor of the Parkinson's Day in the Senedd, where I was there with Parkinson's choir. So we actually got to meet him early in the summer as well. So paying our respects to his family there. And as you say, it's still a workplace. The Senedd, and there's decisions, there's meetings, but it is the same faces that you see regularly, and the atmosphere will have definitely changed. And yeah, so another by-election, another seat swings in the balance that will be going up to 90. It'll still feel like a workplace, a little bit bigger next year, though. And also, of course, we've got our American friends coming over. What involvement does Welsh government have when the President of the United States comes to town?
Well, we've got a lot of companies in Wales, about 250 companies that employ several thousand people. So it's really important we have a strong relationship with the United States. Obviously, Trump's politics is very, very different from mine. The King kindly invited me to attend the state banquet. I didn't feel that was the right thing to do, partly because I felt I needed to be with my colleagues this week when we're all come to terms with this very difficult situation in relation to having David. So there's a time when you need to make sure you're together. And look, our politics is very, very different. And, you look at things like Gaza and you think we need to be doing everything we can to intervene. And it would be good, I think, if we could do a bit more in that space.
Gina?
Well, we have got something which is going to lighten the mood now because it's favourite. We want to know what your favourite bird is. It's National Bird Day. So we're going to approach that question with you. What is your favourite bird?
So I tell you what I like. You can't really see them except at a real distance in Pembrokeshire. Is the Manx shearwater. So it's really lovely. I quite often go to the tip of St David's Head, and at dusk you can see thousands of them flying back over to Skoma, and it's just the most extraordinary sight. But you can never see them up close. But I just think it's an incredible spectacle.
Oh, we do love the Manx shearwater. The puffin gets the best rep with their colourful bills and the fact that they are just walking around your feet on Skoma. But you're quite right. The Manx shearwater, native to our islands, a little bit nocturnal, which is why you've got to go out there at the right time to find them. What a great selection, a great suggestion for our favourite bird. Eluned Morgan, First Minister, thank you so much for joining us here on your breakfast show with Folly Farm on a wonderful Wednesday. We played Uptown Funk, Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars, which was one of your requests. And we're looking forward to having you back. Should we invite you back next week?
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Love that. We'll find out how the week has been and what you'll be looking forward to in the weeks ahead. You've got another song suggestion for us now.
I have. Look, I'm a massive Sister Sledge fan, massive. And We Are Family is like our family anthem. So yeah, try that one.
That's playing for us now on Pure West Radio. If you've got a question for the First Minister, our representative of Mid and West Wales, then you can send your questions in now, studio@purewestradio.com, and we'll be sure to put a short selection to the First Minister next Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday, First Minister. We look forward to catching up next week.
Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
We should dance our way out.